This free agency has been absolutely crazy. A lot of emotions, a lot of people moving on from teams, including the legendary King himself will no longer be wearing blue. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Titan Tavern, where all guests and fans are welcome during this crazy free agency time where it's finally the weekend. Maybe the moves will finally slow down, but we're just going to go over everything that has happened this week. I'm your host, Tristan. Now let's talk about some actual NFL news, finally. Alrighty, so with this free agency, I think we have all been shown that the cap is real, and it doesn't even matter that it got increased a crazy amount. Because we're seeing cuts left and right, but now we're also seeing signings like no other. And of course, I'm just going to go over the signings today through the first week of free agency. And of course, we're just going to go by division. And right now, we are starting off with the AFC East, starting off with one of my favorite teams, the Buffalo Bills. Now, some of these signings may go into depth about, because they may have big impacts, but of course, if it's signing somebody that was pretty much just going to be a backup, might not really. For example, the first one, the Buffalo Bills signed back Mitch Trubisky, which, I don't really know. He's not going to really do much. Let's see here. They have signed Mac Hollins. They signed Curtis Samuel, who previously played for the Washington Commanders. I think that's a really good signing. They agreed to terms with Dion Dawkins, an offensive tackle, with a 3-year, $60.5 million extension. They were able to keep David Edwards, agreeing to a 2-year extension. AJ Epineza re-signed on a 2-year deal. Daquan Jones re-signing on a 2-year deal again. And they also got Cam Lewis re-signed to another 2-year deal. Taylor Rapp, a 3-year deal. And Nicholas Marrow, a 1-year deal. Almost all of their deals are pretty much 2-year deals. Of course, if you kept track of social media at all, you'll know that the Bills took a heavy hit this offseason. They had to release a lot of players. And I think that's going to impact them quite a lot, in all honesty. I think that they're going to struggle a lot because, especially these other teams, in what they're doing. For example, going on to Miami Dolphins, they kept Salvin Ahmed, they kept Jody Fortson, they got Jonnu Smith, they re-signed Robert Jones, they got Aaron Brewer, a 3-year contract worth $21 million, Neville Gallimore signed as a free agent. Jonathan Harris signed a 1-year deal. Shaq Barrett, I actually do like that move. I think that's going to be pretty good. I feel like Miami is targeting their defense a lot, and especially their defensive line. They signed, within the first week, they signed a new edge rusher and 2 defensive linemen. And they also signed Jordy Brooks, Anthony Walker, Kendall Fuller, Nick Needham, Saron Neal. All of those players are all defensive players. So they've gone heavy with defense. They know what they want. And of course they signed Jake Bailey, re-signed him, their punter. And for Bills fans, they did steal Jordan Poyer. So that one really sucks if you're a Bills fan. I've been looking into these teams all week, and the New England Patriots, this one I'm just kind of good. Golly. So first off, they start off free agency before it even technically begins by trading away Mac Jones to the Jags. So Mac Jones is no longer even there. So what did they do? They went out and got Jacoby Brissett. Again, I don't, how many times has this guy left? How many times has this guy been signed by the New England Patriots? They also got Nathan Rook, Antonio Gibson, which is a good sign, Kendrick Bourne, which is a good sign, Jalen Reagor. Maybe he'll do something. Hunter Henry, which is actually good signing. Austin Hooper, which again is actually also a really good signing. Austin Hooper did really good in Tennessee. This one I'm kind of glancing over. They made a lot of moves. Like, on the offensive line, Tyron Wheatley Jr., Chikua Okafor, Mike Onwenu. And they also went on the defensive side. They've got Anthony Jennings, Josh Unk, Harmon Watts, Christian Ellis, Sion Takitaki, which is actually a really good signing. I believe Takitaki actually did graduate from the University of Tennessee. Of course, go Vols. And Kyle Duggar. Yeah, let's just say New England just said we are going to be very busy. After finally parting ways with Bill Belichick, they said we're going to change our ways. And they definitely changed their ways in free agency. The New York Jets signed a backup quarterback, so who knows what's going to happen with Zach Wilson anymore. Because their new backup to Aaron Rodgers is Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, I think Zach Wilson's days are done. Yep, and done. They've also targeted Morgan Moses, Tyron Smith, which a lot of Cowboys fans are highly upset about that. I love that move. Any move to make Cowboys fans upset, I'm all for. And John Simpson, so they've targeted 3 offensive linemen just to help out because their offensive line last season was a disaster, like most teams actually. They also got Leaky Fotu, Javon Kinwell, Isaiah Oliver, Greg Zuerlein, haven't heard that name in a while, Greg the Leg, and Thomas Morstead. So as far as we're talking for teams that have improved for the East, sadly I gotta say I think it's the Dolphins that have improved the most. I hate saying that. But in all honesty, I think you could actually see, I think the Patriots are going to improve too. It's really not all that hard to improve from being the second worst team in the league. the third worst team in the league. But in all honesty, I think they're going to have a lot of improvements. I think as far as who's won the offseason in that division, I actually kind of do think it's the Dolphins. They've had a lot of good signings. A lot of those players are really going to help them out. Yes, I hate saying that as a person that loves the Bills. But I think the Dolphins are definitely winners of week 1 of the offseason for the AFC East. Oh, and how fitting. Yeah, right. The very next team we're talking about is the AFC North. So the Cincinnati Bengals, they traded away Joe Mixon, who they originally thought they were going to just cut. They had traded him to the Texans, and the Texans signed him to like a 3-year, $27 million deal, which is insane. But the Cincinnati Bengals, they signed a 2-year deal with Zach Moss, which is a really good move because Zach Moss is actually a really good running back. They re-signed Trenton Irwin. They're getting Mike Gesicki, which is actually a really good pick. Tanner Hudson, Andrew Samples. They're really trying to up that tight end room a lot, considering 3 of their signings were just solely tight ends. They got Cody Ford, who's a decent move. They got Sheldon Rankins, who's actually always been really good with Houston. They got Akeem Davis-Gaither. They got Von Bell and Geno Stone. Yeah. So it looks like really what they're trying to do is they're just trying to keep their pieces together as far as that goes. And of course, T. Higgins is still on a non-exclusive franchise tag. So I think at some point he's going to get moved out. I don't see him wanting to play on that one. It's kind of crazy whenever you think about it because the franchise tag is $21.8 million, but he can still seek a trade if he really wants out of there, and I think he does. As far as where he goes, I don't even know anymore. I would like to see him in Titans blue, but I don't know. That one's going to be kind of hard because I knew for a fact, like, him going to Kansas City that would never be a thing. I would love to see him go to the Titans, but there are some other wide receiver hungry teams that could definitely use him as well. But there's no telling whether he's going to be a Bengal or not. The Cleveland Browns signed their, they signed more than likely their starter for the next season, Jameis Winston. Because we know their luck with quarterbacks and how they had 4 of them. 4 different starting quarterbacks last season. Jameis Winston's probably going to start most of the games next season, I feel like. The Browns, of course, signed him to a 1-year, $8.7 million deal. I think he'll probably see the field. They, of course, traded with the Broncos in exchange for a 5th and 6th round pick. They got Jerry Jeudy, which, I don't know, maybe he can revive his career. He's a good receiver, but he's never been able to escape the difference between good to great. They got Michael Dunn at guard, Zadarius Smith, Shelby Harris, Maurice Hurst, Devin Bush, Jordan Hicks, Corey Bajorquez, and Adam Trumpman. As far as the Browns go, I don't really track all their movements or anything. I saw the Jerry Jeudy trade, the Jameis Winston signing, but past that, I didn't really pay much attention to him. There was another team in this division that I paid a lot more attention to because of a certain thing. Actually, there's two teams, I would say. For example, one of them was the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just recently traded away, per his request, Kenny Pickett. Per request that he wanted to be traded because he did not want to he didn't want to compete against their new signing, Russell Wilson. The Steelers also got Patrick Queen, who of course was contracted with the Ravens before, so they stole him. They got Dante Jackson, they got Deshaun Elliott, and they got Christian Kuntz. So overall, I don't know what in the world the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do, but we know for a fact that Russell Wilson, I think, is actually their only quarterback on the roster now. Because the Titans signed Mason Rudolph. Don't ask me why. And, well, they just traded away Kenny Pickett. And, of course, talking about the elephant in the room, the Baltimore Ravens, of course, got Nelson Aguilar. Signed a one-year extension, no details. They signed Justin Madubuike. They signed Malik Harrison. They signed Brent Urban. They signed Josh Johnson. Oh yeah, and they also signed the king himself, Derrick Henry. No, that doesn't hurt at all. Totally doesn't. Signed a 2-year, $16 million contract that has a max value of $20 million, $9 million guaranteed. Of course it was the Ravens. And Madden, if anybody even plays that anymore, is going to be terrible next season because all we're going to see is basically we're just going to see the Baltimore Ravens everywhere, and that's going to be the team that everybody picks. You know why? Because they got the Hulk and Lamar in the backfield. So yeah, it's going to be something. I do hope, and I hate saying this, I do hope at some point Derrick Henry gets a Super Bowl ring. I'm sad that it will definitely never be with the Titans. Hope the best for him. And yeah, he will be missed. And every other AFC South team says we will not miss him. But of course, with that news, every Titans fan, heart being broken, we're actually about to reach the AFC South, who we're going to be talking about, which actually I have been tracking most of these, and I am sad about the team that we're going to be talking about right now because they took 2 players from the Titans. Of course, the Houston Texans, the winner of the division last season, they of course traded Cincinnati for Joe Mixon, and it was just for a 7th round pick. They re-signed Noah Brown, which I love that move. They re-signed Dalton Schultz, again, love that move. Re-signed Charlie Heck, which is a good move. Signed Tim Settle. Signed Danielle Hunter. I love that move. That is a super good move that people ain't acknowledging. They signed Mike Ford, Lonnie Johnson, Desmond King II, Jeff Okuda, Deshaun Phillips, Eric Murray, Kaimi Fairbairn, their kicker, Tommy Townsend, who was released from the Chiefs. He is an incredible punter. Oh yeah, and they also stole from the Titans Azeez Al-Shaair and Danico Autry, who I really wanted the Titans to keep. Aziz. Aziz. I really did. I loved seeing him. I loved seeing him play for the Titans. He was really good. And now it's gonna suck that he's on the other side. Same goes for Danica Autry. That dude has been absolutely incredible. I don't think he's left the South. Actually, oddly enough, for his entire career. I might be wrong on that, but I know he played for the Titans, and I thought he played for the Colts before, but I could be wrong about that. I love everything that the Texans are doing. I think their free agency is absolutely incredible. The Indianapolis Colts, they signed, of course, the legendary Joe Flacco. Trey Sermon, they finally got a deal done with Michael Pittman. Of course, everybody saw that coming. You can't let that guy walk. They also got Tyreek Lewis, Jannard Avery, Raekwon Davis, Grover Stewart, Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore II, Ronnie Harrison, and Roberto Sanchez. I didn't really track this one. I don't like the Colts. They're one of my least favorite teams in the league. But yeah, either way, moving on to the Jags. They of course traded for Mac Jones, who Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence was in the same draft class, so that happened. They re-signed Dearness Johnson. They signed Gabe Davis, who was released by the Bills. They got Devin Duvernay, Blake Hance, Ezra Cleveland. How do you not play in Cleveland if your last name is Cleveland? Mitch Morse, that's actually really good signing. He's actually a really good center. They got Eric Armstead. That's again a really good deal. Max value of $51 million over 3 years. Ronald Darby, Darnell Savage, and the franchise tag to Josh Allen. Not the quarterback, but the edge rusher who they need to get a deal done with, because I don't know if he wants to play on a franchise tag. And then, of course, you got my favorite team. Oh boy, we're going to be talking about this one. So, the Titans have been all over the place. They went ahead and signed a 1-year deal for Mason Rudolph, who is going to be the backup. No questions about it. Will Levis is the starter. So, I think I still would have said just completely ignore that, even though it's just a $2.87 million. So it's barely anything towards the cap. Still would have just said keep Malik Willis at this point. They signed Tony Pollard, taking him from the Cowboys. Signed a 3-year, $24 million deal, which I think is good. He is essentially the backup running back to Tyjae Spears, who I have spoken highly of, and I'm actually really looking forward to the future for him. They re-signed Nick Westbrook-Akine. They agreed to a deal with Saheed Charles, Lloyd Cushenberry, the center from the Broncos, they signed, and I love this move so much. Anything making the line better at all at anything, even the center, which was atrocious last season, got better. They signed a 2-year deal with Kenneth Murray for $15.5. Got Chidobe Awuzie for $36 in a 3-year deal, and you cannot take number 22. They of course signed Nick Folk, Morgan Cox, and of course the elephant in the room. Yes, they did sign Calvin Ridley to a 4-year, $92 million contract, which is $50 million guarantee. A lot of people hate this move, and a lot of people like this move. I like it. You got DeAndre Hopkins as your 1, you've got Calvin Ridley as your 2, then you've got Nick Westbrook-Akine at your 3, and then you have Treylon Burks at your 4. I like that move a lot. And we're giving Will Levis, we're giving him targets. He's going into his 2nd season. Seriously, I gotta say this, we need to stop the hate on this man. There is no reason for the hate that this man keeps getting. He played 1 season. He only played 7 games. And he has been, ever since he got drafted by the Titans, he has been getting trashed on. And I hate seeing that. We need to stop as a fan base. That needs to end. There is no reason to be trashing him this much. Let him prove himself on the field. He is good. He is talented. He is a NFL starting quarterback. He just played 7 games his rookie season. Let's just let him develop. I mean, come on. Just be patient. And that's all I have to say. Just stop the hate against him. And just be patient. And then, moving on to the AFC West. So, the Denver Broncos really are not going to be doing much of anything because they chose to take the brunt of the dead cap this season for Russell Wilson. So really they're just doing re-signing and signing just a few players. Like they re-signed Will Lutz, they re-signed PJ Locke, signed Brandon Jones, signed Malcolm Roach, re-signed Lil Jordan Humphrey, and re-signed Michael Burton. They're not going to be doing much in free agency. They're choosing to eat most of the dead cap this season. So they're rebuilding. Let's see here. Oh yeah, right. The Kansas City Chiefs, they got the guy that I wanted for the Titans. They got Marquise Brown. To a 1-year deal up to $11 million. I think this was just going to be a prove-it deal. And who knows, maybe Marquise Brown might end up walking away with the ring at the end of this season. They signed Irv Smith. They of course re-signed Chris Jones to a 5-year, $158.75 million contract with $101 million in guarantees. That is for a defensive lineman. And of course, we all know Chris Jones is absolutely incredible, but goodness. And I know Patrick Mahomes restructured his contract, so that saved up like $21 million in cap room. So they were able to make some more signings. They re-signed Derek Nadee, Tertia Wharton, Drew Tranquil. They've got L'Jarius Sneed on a franchise tag. Who knows what's gonna happen with that? There's of course Deion Bush, Matt Ariza, and then James Winchester. Here we go. Then of course the Las Vegas Raiders. They signed Gardner Minshew, who's more than likely going to be their starter. They got Amir Abdullah, Andre Jones, and Christian Wilkins. And then, of course, the Chargers, who just recently cut Mike Williams and traded away Keenan Allen to the Chicago Bears for a fourth-round pick. They re-signed Easton Stick. They signed Gus Edwards, tight end Will Dissly, Hayden Hurst. I forget he's in the league. Puna Ford and Alohe Gilman. Safe to say, I think as far as the AFC South goes, I think the Titans have made a lot of improvements, and I think the Texans have by far made the most improvements. As far as the AFC West goes, go figure, the Kansas City Chiefs got even better. And of course, if we're talking about winners and losers of the AFC side of the first week of free agency, personally, I think the winners are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Texans, the Miami Dolphins, and the Tennessee Titans. I think those teams, as well as the Baltimore Ravens, and yeah, I think those teams have definitely won the first week of free agency and into the off season, just due to a lot of them had a lot of releases. They're also doing a lot of re-signing as well as signing new players to assist them with growing. Of course, I do think that the Chiefs are definitively going to be the best team and one of the best teams in the league. I think the Baltimore Ravens with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are going to be a close number 2. I think the Houston Texans are jumping up there a lot and they're going to be the third best team. And then, of course, you're going to have the Miami Dolphins, which I think is probably going to be number 4. And then you've got the Tennessee Titans with their upgrades, new head coach, new scheme, a lot of new players. I think they're going to be, I don't want to say the 5th best, but I think they're going to be the top 8. As far as losers go, I gotta give the crown to the Chargers. They have lost so many weapons in an effort to try to keep their defense, which was meh at best. I think the Bills lost a lot, and I don't think they lost the offseason so far, but I don't think they definitely have not won it either. The New England Patriots is just going to have to wait and see. We don't know what in the world's going to go on with them. The Jets, if they can stay healthy, it's a win for them. The Jags, I think they're losing so far. The Colts, I think, they've done a lot to improve, but also stay the same at the same time. And of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're going to have no idea until the season starts. The Bengals, if they also lose T. Higgins, I think they're losing this one. I think they're going to be classified as a loser of the off season. But we always seem to see the winners of the off season do not good. Usually they don't do good. But a lot of these teams that are winning this free agency so far, I think they're gonna be okay. And I'm terrified of the Chiefs now. Thankfully, I do also support the Chiefs. Not as much as the Titans, but I do love them. But actually, I'm really excited for this upcoming season. I'm really excited to see what my Titans become. But yeah, that is going over the winners and losers and everything that has happened within the first week of free agency for the AFC side. Of course, I will have another video coming up soon with the winners, losers, and everything that has happened for the NFC side. And that's a lot. A lot of stuff has happened, and I'm all for it. Man, I think next season's going to be absolutely insane and completely unpredictable. I hope so, at least. And of course, as always, if you like the video, please like. If you have anything that you want to discuss, any questions, any comments, please leave them in the comments section. Those also, along with the likes, help out with the YouTube algorithm to help me get seen more. But of course, if you like my content, if you like me yammering on about NFL and everything that's going on with that, please subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And as always, tighten up, baby.